The following program is based on speculation and conjecture. Viewers should explore all sources of information before reaching their own conclusions.
This was clearly a disc-shaped object.
Take a look at this.
Oh my God!
This is a video taken over Area 51.
Gulf breeze has suddenly become a hotspot for these unidentified flying objects.
That sat there for hours, witnessed by hundreds of people.
The planes passed, and I saw this strange craft in the sky.
There were craft watching us land on the moon.
In approximately 4 seconds, down goes an intricate snowflake design.
All of a sudden, the UFO craft comes into view.
There she is.
The craft is becoming invisible here on the tape.
They have flight capabilities we have not yet achieved.
It appears to be metallic. It appears to be a craft.
We seem to have some sort of trail that follows the object.
Thousands of people with our cameras in our hands are going to produce the evidence that this is real.
In the 50 years since the alleged crash of a flying saucer in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, there have been reports of thousands of UFO sightings. While most of these can easily be explained away, the most intriguing cases continue to baffle both skeptics and believers alike. Tonight you will see the most compelling videotaped and filmed evidence of strange, unidentified craft ever presented on television, and hear from NASA experts, a former CIA official, and the eyewitnesses themselves. Are we seeing alien craft, secret military vehicles, or clever hoaxes? You decide for yourself as we examine UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape. What you are seeing may be the most credible UFO footage ever shot over America. It is unlikely that they are hoaxes. Investigators who have analyzed the footage believe that we are seeing either super secret technology being tested or perhaps actual alien spacecraft. Phoenix, Arizona, 1997. It began March 13th. Residents had observed strange lights in the sky for the preceding 3 nights, which were captured on this short tape. Then at 9:45 p.m. on the 13th, thousands of people witnessed this amazing display. Tom King, a local resident, captured it on tape.
Woo! Look at that!
Major sighting here.
I've never seen it. Look at that.
This isn't like the stuff I'm normally seeing. This is extraordinary. You look at it and go, that's not an aircraft. We were perplexed the whole time trying to figure out, what is this thing?
As the tape rolled, 5 lights blinked on in sequence, offering an outline of a flying object as it hovered near the mountains. Bill Hamilton, a resident, was with King as he taped the lights.
This was a very significant mass sighting because at least one of these objects was seen traveling down diagonally the entire state of Arizona. Thousands of witnesses, several videotapes, hundreds of phone calls were made to local television stations, to local police stations.
That same evening, insurance salesman Mike Kristen was at home with his wife when he recorded this astonishing video of the same event from 40 miles away.
I saw a single point of light farther to the east on the mountains than I've ever seen before. All of a sudden, another sequence of light started to form to the right of it, and I happened to be catching everything. This whole entire sequence came on.
They're very large, larger than any light in the city.
Take a look at the footage. I'm not telling you what they are. If it was an alien spacecraft, there's something out there that they can't defend us against.
Amazingly, a third video was shot simultaneously, showing the same lights going out in order.
It's an amazing thing. This is a huge sighting that happened.
By inputting the video into a computer, image processor Jim Dilatoso was able to determine what the Phoenix UFOs looked like.
Now we have 3D mountains and topology that we can swing around and look at it from different angles. We feel very certain that the object, tip to tip, is more than a mile long.
National newspapers soon carried front-page stories of the enormous V-shaped object seen over Phoenix. But the local military base did nothing to calm the fears of the 10,000 residents who were startled by what they saw. A Phoenix councilwoman, Frances Barwood, has called for an investigation into the strange lights.
There's people that were active military that were afraid to say publicly what they saw because they had been told that it would be the end of their career.
Area 51, Nevada, 1992. This extraordinary night vision video was recorded over our nation's most secret base. An intrepid news crew was investigating the strange craft people were seeing there when the cameraman managed to capture this large, glowing orb that seemed to hover like a flying saucer. But despite evidence like this being shot over the base for years, the government refused to comment.
The military is lying about this. They've had interest at high levels since the very beginning of the modern UFO era.
George Knapp, a Las Vegas-based TV reporter, believes UFOs exist.
We know that secret things have gone on there. There had been various reports in the local press over the years that strange things had been seen. I think there are people who operate for our government or its emissaries who try to scare people out of getting too close.
Area 51, Nevada, 1993. This astonishing footage was leaked from the secret base by a high-ranking military source working there. He is speaking with us anonymously to avoid government reprisals. Never before seen on primetime television, it reportedly documents a UFO encounter captured by military cameras.
This is an actual radar transmitting against a target, a metallic target, bouncing back and reflecting information. Nothing was supposed to be there at that time. These were not any military type of test.
The object appears to transform into unusual shapes while it continues to fly about erratically, as if to avoid pursuit. The numbers in the upper corner document the distance covered by the unknown object. At one point, the UFO travels nearly 13 miles in 6 seconds.
The object on this tape makes extremely rapid velocity changes and cornering maneuvers that are not possible with any aircraft we have on the planet today.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1987. A man living in this seaside town located near other sensitive military installations delivered these startling photos to the town newspaper. Soon after, this extraordinary nighttime footage of the same structured craft was made public. Navy optical physicist Bruce Maccabee was initially baffled.
But it wasn't until I spent a considerable amount of time analyzing it that I realized just how impressive it was. The shape, the structure, and the way it moved is not a characteristic of any craft that human beings make.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1993. These UFOs were also caught on tape by another resident. Look at this footage of an accelerating UFO. In slow motion, the object does not appear to be a missile or any known projectile, nor does this strange object. Here it is again in a third clip. In slow motion, the camera records a small silver streak of instant acceleration.
We don't have this type of capability for propulsion technology in existence in human science.
We showed some of the Area 51 and Gulf Breeze footage to the former Deputy Director of the CIA, Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. He believes what we're seeing is of earthly origin.
When we see these observations over military installations, then instantly my perception is that we're probably observing some test of some new technology.
Redfish Point, Florida, 1993. This extraordinary cylinder-shaped UFO was recorded just outside Gulf Breeze by UFO investigator Michael Hawkins. It hovers over the beach not too far from Eglin Air Force Base.
It was scaring me, actually. You know, I'd never seen nothing like that before with any kind of structure on it. I thought maybe it might be a military craft, but after a while, I started to think that, you know, possibly it was some kind of alien probe.
Midway City, Florida, 1993. Amazingly, Hawkins managed to shoot footage of another strange object near Gulf Breeze that was also videotaped by 2 other photographers. These astonishing videos from different angles reveal an extraordinary Christmas tree-shaped craft hovering over a dense forest. At times, the object appears to give off dense smoke. Then suddenly, it shines an intense beam directly at the camera.
From all the tapes I've collected, I do believe that there is alien activity over Gulf Breeze.
And over other military bases? And major cities like Phoenix? Yet the government continues to deny the very existence of UFOs, despite startling evidence caught on tape. Perhaps all these videos now being shot will prompt officials to admit that unexplained objects are indeed flying in our skies.
Coming up next, your first look at this UFO caught on tape in Ecuador.
This object was like a 6-point star. I began filming it.
Later, we'll reveal the answer to a UFO mystery.
We're able to positively identify a UFO.
When UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
While the growing use of video cameras may be showing that the skies over the United States are becoming filled with UFOs, equally compelling UFO footage shot over other countries may be proving the phenomenon is worldwide. Ecuador, South America, 1995. High school student Victor Chiloisa managed to capture what many experts are calling one of the most extraordinary UFOs ever caught on tape. In this never-before-seen footage, a structured rotating craft can clearly be seen in the nighttime sky. According to Chiloisa, the craft hovered very briefly.
I was with 2 cousins, 1 friend. Suddenly, we saw some red lights in the sky. 5 minutes later, maybe, I went out with the camera again. This object was like a star, like a 6-point star. And I began filming it.
500 people in the city of Guayaquil reportedly witnessed the unprecedented close encounter. The craft, which resembles a glowing chandelier, did not appear to be any craft that Chiloisa and his friends were familiar with.
Couldn't be a helicopter, it couldn't be an airplane, it couldn't be, well, whatever. It just could be an UFO. It was, for me, unbelievable. I was so astonished that I couldn't say anything.
Though one of America's top imaging experts was intrigued by the UFO, he cautions it could be a miniature.
I'm afraid that that could be just some kind of toy with a lot of reflective surfaces on it. But there's just not enough to go on.
Brazil, 1990. These provocative images have been debated ever since motorists traveling on a busy highway were stunned to see this disc-shaped craft flashing strange patterns in the sky. Researchers have uncovered no reports of any known aircraft in the area that night, which could have accounted for what was videotaped. As with so many UFOs, this flying craft is a mystery. Like in the United States, video cameras are capturing UFOs near sensitive military installations around the world. While these unknown craft could be secret military vehicles, they could be something else. Greifswald, East Germany, 1990. East German and Russian personnel working at a nuclear plant recorded these UFO clusters forming over the site. Investigators would determine that they are independent craft which appear to circle each other and blink out one at a time.
I eagerly await the skeptic who can explain to me what the Griswold footage represents. You've got different people from different angles videotaping this thing, hundreds of witnesses. It sat there for hours over a sensitive location. You've got one point there where one object comes in and joins these other things. What operates like that? I don't know.
Mexico, 1991. Vicente Sanchez took a video camera to Mexico City's Independence Day air show and caught something totally unexpected on tape. In a rare video sequence, a UFO seems to hover in front of a squadron of military jets on maneuvers.
I'm following the path of the planes, and I suddenly found a strange object in the sky. I didn't know what it was, so I let the planes pass.
As Sanchez remains focused on the UFO, the object appears to come closer to the camera. Then something inexplicable occurs.
When the object was right near me, the camera suddenly turned off.
It's very strange that the battery would drain so quickly, because the camera was showing in the viewfinder that the battery was full.
What happened to the electrical system of Sanchez's camera eerily matches the reports of pilots who have encountered UFOs while in flight. Many say their plane's electrical systems have mysteriously turned off. The Mexican military has not disclosed how their planes reacted to the close encounter Sanchez taped. But witnesses say 5 of their jets broke formation to chase the UFO. Mexico City, 1993. At the same annual military air show, a second amateur photographer recorded another mysterious flying craft. In this startling footage, we can see the apparent UFO flying right through a squadron of helicopters. Top experts who have studied the footage have concluded the object is not a bird and is 2 or 3 meters in diameter. Whatever it is, it seems to fly dangerously close to the chopper, sometimes in front and sometimes behind the whirling blades. Again, the Mexican authorities have refused to comment about the incident. And UFOs are not only being videotaped near the world's most sophisticated military craft. NASA's own cameras have captured UFOs near our spacecraft launches, and even in outer space. Cape Kennedy, Florida, 1993. During the liftoff of the Space Shuttle Columbia, footage was shot of an unusual object which appeared to streak by the spacecraft as it made its way into orbit. Though the UFO seen here has never been explained, its very close proximity to the shuttle clearly could have posed a danger to our astronauts inside. While there have been many mysterious objects seen and filmed during our manned missions, perhaps the most startling footage showing UFOs near our astronauts was shot by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin just prior to the historic moon landing in the summer of 1969. Here you see 2 glowing orbs hovering over the lunar surface, which appear brighter than anything else in the frame. Are these merely reflections of light bulbs inside the lunar module, as NASA contends, or something much more phenomenal? Either way, this rarely seen footage helped fuel rumors that the Apollo 11 astronauts saw alien spacecraft watching them from a nearby crater rim as they walked on the moon. And some UFO researchers are convinced our government's Star Wars defense systems were really designed to protect us from a possible alien confrontation. And such weapons have even been used just above the Earth. September 1991. In this dramatic footage shot by NASA's own cameras aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery, an unidentified object appears to emerge from the Earth's atmosphere and move steadily toward the upper left. Then, as a peculiar flash is detected in the lower left of the frame, the strange object seems to dart off into space.
There's the main object. It's going to come over here. There will be a flash. It'll dart back here. Then you'll see a streak go through here.
As radical as it sounds, Dr. Jack Kasher, who has worked on Star Wars defense development, believes we may be witnessing a Star Wars weapon being fired just before a UFO performs an evasive maneuver.
Watch for a double flash down here, and then it'll zip off. There's the flash. There it goes. Here comes the streak right through where it had been.
While NASA has maintained that this footage probably shows ice particles being affected by the shuttle's rockets, Kasher is certain this is not the case. He believes NASA's cameras caught extraterrestrial vehicles navigating over our planet.
An ice particle simply cannot stop and wait for half a second and then react to being pushed by the exhaust from the shuttle. I think the video itself is a landmark because of the significance of what appears to be going on there, and the fact that it appears that we really are looking at spacecraft out in space away from the shuttle.
Next, is this a real UFO landing?
This was one of the most well-documented UFO cases in history.
Also, are UFOs making crop circles? Later, the most amazing UFOs ever taped.
It's silver, it's disc, it's metallic.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
Among the many impressive cases of UFOs caught on tape, there remain some that simply appear too good to be true. While researchers continue to investigate these baffling images, the main question remains, Does the best video evidence offer proof that alien spacecraft are visiting Earth? Or are they the product of clever hoaxers using extraordinary special effects? West Carleton, Canada, 1991. On a small farm, a pulsating, glowing craft was captured on video by an anonymous source. Could this be the first videotaped account of an alien spacecraft landing on terrestrial soil? Bob Exler, a former NASA mission specialist, received the tape in the mail along with strange documents and a fingerprint from a source known only as the Guardian.
In my judgment, the so-called Guardian case is one of the most sophisticated and well-documented UFO cases in history. We have a videotape with some physical evidence from that. There was enough information in the package to suggest a landing site where the event occurred. We found witnesses, eyewitnesses to the event. This was clearly a disc-shaped object with some rather unique-looking appendages.
We don't know what that really represents, but it clearly is the overall shape, and you can see that because the flares in the background are illuminating smoke, which are backlighting this object.
Navy optical physicist Dr. Bruce Maccabee determined that the craft hovering above the field appears to be 25 feet in diameter. He doesn't think it's the work of a Hollywood special effects team.
This was a real event witnessed by some people other than Guardian, which makes this an important case. It's my opinion it's not a hoax.
Dennis DeHate of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police disagrees. He believes the craft is real, but it's nothing unusual.
Most of the people I spoke with indicated that helicopters had been flying in the area for some time and that the sighting was not that of a UFO. In fact, as far as they're concerned, it was a helicopter.
DeHate analyzed the footage as part of a Canadian investigation.
After reviewing all the information, I'm convinced, and I'll always be convinced, that this is a helicopter.
My response to that is it's a ridiculous explanation. What appears in the video does not look at all like a helicopter.
Stonehenge, England, 1996. This video is perhaps even more intriguing. The video shows two lights circling slowly over a wheat field. Below them, the impression of an intricate crop circle appears.
As if by magic, these things just moving around, and all of a sudden there's this structure. Now, that structure is known as a real structure. It was videotaped and seen by many people after this tape was made.
I think what is so believable about the video is that it does support everything that we had been told accompanied the construction of these mysterious designs. That's very convincing, but of course it's only one part of the picture.
Cullen Andrews is considered to be the most prominent crop circles researcher, linking UFOs to that phenomenon. When he examined this video, he was determined to learn more about the man who taped these UFOs in action.
Everything we find about the man, the circumstances, his employer, his background is highly suspicious. We now know that he is a co-owner of a film company, a video suite, where editing is carried out with some very exquisite equipment.
Could this have been what we call a morph, where you start with a beginning image and you start with an ending image and you let the computer fill in the middle, and we think it's more likely a hoax?
I believe it to be a hoax.
Gulf Breeze, Florida, 1993. This rare sequence was shot by contractor Ed Walters. After panning the entire horizon, a small, disc-shaped object appeared overhead, where just before there had been nothing. Then it suddenly disappears. Could this be a true UFO encounter, or the product of an elaborate hoax?
I know Ed's equipment, which is basically about the simplest type of equipment you could get. That rules out the technical capability to do something sophisticated. I don't believe it was a hoax.
Bob Exler found other supportive evidence in the video by comparing sunlight angles, shadows of buildings, and the object's incredible acceleration.
Most remarkable videotape, one that I could not see any way that could be artificially manufactured.
While the merits of this provocative video continue to be debated, one thing is clear. There is a person walking in the frame at the moment the UFO disappears, making it difficult to hoax. Miami, Florida, 1995. Another dramatic UFO was videotaped by a local resident named Adrain. In a network television first, Adrain's video displays a large glowing UFO hovering over a residential area. Moments later, the plasma-type craft shrinks to nothing and blinks out. Author and UFO researcher Randolph Winters believes the brightly lit UFO would be impossible to fake.
You may notice in the video, the top of the object appears to glow and light reflects off of it every now and then. If there was an object holding it or somebody holding it or strings of some type, you could probably see it quite easily in the bright light.
Some experts have dismissed the Adrain video because the large glowing craft doesn't appear to cast any light on other objects in the scene. But similar unknown craft have been videotaped at least 3 other times. Juarez, Mexico, 1994. This video, shot through a chain-link fence, shows a small saucer-shaped UFO with a blinking light at the bottom.
That is typical of an aircraft which has a beacon light that flashes brightly to attract attention.
Almost a year later in Miami, Florida, some tourists captured these amazing UFO images from the window of their car. Again, it's a similar craft with the same saucer shape and beacon light.
We're now going to look at a direct comparison between the UFO in Miami and the UFO in Juarez, Mexico. You can see lights flashing underneath these images. And you can also see that they have a bright sort of a central top and a strange, almost like a rim around the outside. What are these things that have been videotaped? An immediate clue is a flashing light because it's standard for aircraft to carry a beacon light that flashes.
This characteristic flashing light, along with some additional information, was crucial to solving the mystery of these 3 unidentified flying objects.
Well, it just so happens that we have already identified some so-called UFOs in the sky that have been photographed and videotaped, which turn out to be internally lighted blimps.
This night footage, recorded in September 1994, was shot in New York by a man who believed that he was seeing a UFO. Investigators discovered that the MetLife blimp had been making trips over nearby Shea Stadium. Dr. Maccabee now believes that he has an explanation that goes beyond a reasonable doubt for the 3 amazing night UFO videos of similar shape and design.
Internally lighted blimps. These are blimps with transparent skin, and they have very bright lights on the inside. The idea is to attract attention because these are advertising blimps. And so here's a case where, in a sense, we won one. We're able to positively identify a UFO.
If UFOs turn out to be merely helicopters or blimps, there is a tendency to conclude there are simple explanations for all the puzzling lights we see in our skies. But what about those UFOs that remain unexplained? Could the answer to their origin also solve the most enduring mystery of all time?
The population has grown to accept the probability that we are not alone, and we may well not even be the most advanced species in the universe. And I think what we are beginning to see now are more than shadow effects of that form of reality.
Coming up, are real alien craft flying over Mexico.
You can see that the trail follows the image, that we're spewing out some sort of matter.
Also, is this UFO video a message to mankind?
They were making a figure. I think it's information.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
Without a doubt, the most extraordinary display of UFOs caught on video occurred in Mexico. The tremendous number of eyewitnesses, along with their video evidence, makes the UFO activity just south of our borders seem like a virtual invasion. It began during a solar eclipse in 1991, when hundreds of video cameras were pointed toward the skies. This startling video was taken during the eclipse by Guillermo Araguin, a TV network executive. It documents an eerie metallic craft with a saucer-like shape that immediately dazzled Jaime Maussan, one of Mexico's most respected journalists.
I wasn't even in Mexico. When I arrived, they told me, Jaime, a UFO was recorded in the eclipse, and you should see this. And when I saw it, I got so impressed by it that I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw this incredible UFO.
Still more a skeptic than a believer, Moussan recognized the significance of this UFO caught on tape and showed it on primetime TV to the Mexican nation.
I took that piece into television and asked for more videos, and they sent me the videos. And I had been able to collect, so far, 5,000 videos to this moment.
All of them featured strange lights and moving objects that cannot readily be identified as birds, balloons, or airplanes. This extraordinary example, also shot during the eclipse by the Breton family, displays another shiny, hovering object nearly 80 miles east in the city of Puebla, Mexico.
The Breton family clip is so real and so human. It's wonderful because the family's outside, they've got their clock, and they're filming. They move up and they film the object. Again, it's the same type of ship that Mr. Ataguin filmed and all of the others, and it's beautifully clear. It's silver, it's disc, it's metallic.
UFO investigator Britt Elders believes that the videos shot during the eclipse in Mexico offer persuasive evidence of the existence of UFOs.
The eclipse was unusual, and it was so important because 17 different people in 4 different cities took video of the same object.
I didn't believe in UFOs. Why should I believe in them? I'd never seen one.
Luis Lara, confirmed skeptic of anything extraterrestrial, set out to videotape the eclipse. But when he raised his camera, he was drawn to the shiny metallic orb that was hovering overhead.
I was so excited and thrilled to show people. I have UFOs. UFOs! That's when I really started to believe in this.
Strange UFOs seen hovering at the same time. In 4 different videos, at 4 different locations, many miles apart. Could they have been balloons or stars? Investigator Elders wanted to find out.
From that point, we took it to computers. We did 3 different programs on where the stars were, what was visible during the eclipse right over Mexico City. And it wasn't a star.
Balloons were also compared and ruled out. Strangely, when the video is enhanced, the silvery orb seems to be disturbing the atmosphere that surrounds it. This general disturbance would be different than you would find in a video of an airplane.
They don't have the disturbance around the entire object, only towards the end of the object. So the object's moving this way, the disturbance is behind. We don't know if it's part of its propulsion system or if it's because the object was actually moving through the air, disturbing the air currents.
You can see again that the trail, if you will, follows the image. The significance of the distortion is that it follows consistently behind the object, the same as if a propulsion system would generate if it were spewing out some sort of matter or some sort of ionization.
We took the footage to Dr. Robert Nathan, considered by many at NASA to be the foremost expert in image processing. He believes that the smoke is a telltale sign of a small man-made object.
If it's a very large model, smoke will tend to move upward in a sharper draft. The fact that this thing is just sort of billowing out very diffusely suggests that the size of the object has to be quite small.
Could this be some secret military craft unlike any that we know of? No military official, either in Mexico or elsewhere, has made any statements about these discs. Dr. Nathan believes that we have to consider the possibility of a hoax.
The solar eclipse heightens everybody's views to the heavens. Here's a great opportunity to have some fun. Here's a good time to perpetrate a hoax.
If it is a hoax, then it's worldwide, because a few months later, this footage was captured in Mount Unzen, Japan. It reveals what appears to be the same craft, 4,000 miles away.
The object, again, is this hockey puck shape. It has one area that is so black the computer can't read it. The other side of it is lit, but it is almost identical to what was seen during the eclipse in Mexico City.
If these UFOs are piloted craft, many of them appear to be attracted to commercial airliners. Many of Jaime Moussan's videos document dangerous UFO activity in and around Mexico City Airport. These unidentified objects have alarmed both pilots and air traffic controllers. Making things more difficult, UFOs are often sighted visually, but don't show up on the tower's radar screens.
There's something is in their airspace that they don't know what it is. But apparently, it's affecting them, and it's affecting what happens in their aircraft. The controllers and the pilots have told us that their instruments go crazy. They can't get a correct altitude reading, they can't get correct speed, they can't get correct anything. We've had an airliner that has actually claimed to have had a collision with an unknown object in the air.
The experiences the people in the tower of control in the airport in Mexico City are incredible, many incredible experiences. They have seen them with their own eyes over the airport many times. And they had received many reports from pilots, and they have seen sometimes 20, 30, 50 UFOs in the radar, and not one time, many, many times.
Moussan's investigation revealed unprecedented UFO sightings, such as this cluster of 24 UFOs looking like white pearls.
It's 24 different objects moving in different directions, not following one wind pattern or one current, but actually moving in different areas, and you can see them, and then they become stationary.
They were making a figure. I would like to analyze that figures because I think it's information. I think they are trying to tell us something. We are receiving these signals from the sky with this position, these movements, these figures. And that is why I think that video is a very important video.
And these pearls, on occasion, can perform extraordinary stunts, as we see here. Larger UFO clusters were recorded in this remarkable footage. These UFOs appear to be flying in formation. Our aircraft can perform that stunt, but nothing ever built by man, not even our most sophisticated jet fighter or helicopter, can maneuver like the flying object in this amazing video.
The object flies into the cloud, out of the cloud, back into the cloud, out of the cloud. Not only is it saying, look, we're here, but it is displaying a capability of flight that we don't have.
What are we to make of this mysterious UFO activity caught on video? Are these strange aircraft, unlike any of our own, here to investigate us? Or do they have something more sinister in mind? Whatever their purpose, the videotaped evidence from thousands of witnesses proves that their existence cannot be denied.
We, the people, are going to prove that this is truth. Not the scientists, not the authorities, not the military. We, hundreds or thousands of people with our cameras in our hands, are going to be able to produce the evidence that is going to be seen around the world, and is going to prove that this is real and that we are not crazy. We are not lunatics.
Coming up, put the government behind UFO secrets.
The government has covered up things. I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us.
Or are aliens already here?
Alien spacecraft have been here. The tape just confirms that.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, returns.
Tonight, you've witnessed some of the most spectacular footage ever presented of UFO phenomena. But what exactly have you seen? Is the military testing secret aircraft above our cities? Are clever individuals creating spectacular hoaxes? Or are aliens observing us from their technologically advanced spaceships?
It's not like any aircraft I've ever seen. Doesn't behave like balloons, didn't look like a blimp. What was it?
It was just weird. The second you see it, you look at it and go, that's not an aircraft. What is that?
In an attempt to discern whether these videotaped images of unidentified flying craft were actually military craft or possible alien technology, we turn to former government authority Admiral Bobby Ray Inman.
The shots in Mexico interested me. There's clearly something there that you can see. And my first reaction, since I wasn't looking for an unidentified object from distant planets, was to say, could that be a deployed mission tracking the flow of narcotics?
Although Admiral Inman is intrigued by the footage, he is apprehensive to speak publicly because he has been misquoted in the past by UFO researchers.
One of the problems I've had with people who are true believers in UFOs is that they take out of context or misinterpret what I've said.
But Inman had definite opinions about what we showed him.
All of it's interesting, all of the shots, and instantly the mind engages to decide, is there a plausible explanation?
Whatever it is that continues to haunt our skies, thanks to video cameras, more and more of us are capturing evidence of the UFO phenomenon for ourselves. According to recent statistics, half of the American population believes UFOs exist, that the U.S. government knows more about them than it's telling us.
The government has covered up things, and I cannot know as a fact whether or not there is any cover-up here.
While many researchers still believe that a flying saucer crashed near Roswell, New Mexico 50 years ago, the United States Air Force recently released what they call their final report. They concluded there was no UFO crash, and every eyewitness report of an alien body was actually a crash test dummy used in high-altitude parachute drops.
I don't think the Americans should believe anything that our government says about Roswell. How could we? They denied that it existed for so long. Then it was a weather balloon. Now it's a super secret weather balloon. Who knows what it'll be next week?
Interestingly, the report was released upon the 50th anniversary of the Roswell incident, and at a time when UFOs are being videotaped more than ever. Some researchers think that our government is not being honest.
I believe that the government has information related to sightings, which indicates that flying saucers are real. Some sort of other intelligences are flying craft around in our air and have been doing so since 1947.
But former government officials have steadfastly denied the government is withholding any UFO evidence.
Never once did I find any evidence inside the U.S. intelligence community that would validate, that would make certain that in fact not only had there been alien craft, but somehow the U.S. had accessed them.
Is it a coincidence that our American presidents seem interested in UFOs? Before he was president, Jimmy Carter saw a UFO and even reported it to authorities. Subsequent presidents also expressed their concern about visitors from outer space.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And in Belfast, Ireland, President Clinton recently stated, "As far as I know, an alien spacecraft did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. If the U.S. Air Force did recover any alien bodies, they didn't tell me about it either, and I want to know." Astronaut Story Musgrave feels that whether or not the government has covered up the existence of UFOs, our nation is ready to handle the truth, whatever that might be.
I think the public is ready to accept any information. I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us. They can accept that and they want it.
Whether UFOs are from Earth or beyond remains a mystery. But the larger question, of course, concerns extraterrestrial life itself.
But is there a possibility that there is some form of life out in space? That's what we're still pursuing and trying to find out.
As our current exploration of Mars continues with NASA rovers, perhaps one day NASA's cameras will roll up to this controversial structure known as the face on Mars, which many believe was created by an advanced civilization. Maybe when the mystery of this monument is solved, we will be closer to knowing if life did in fact exist on a planet so close to ours. But according to some inside sources, alien life may already be here on planet Earth.
The Defense Department could right now confirm that we have these alien spacecraft. Alien spacecraft have been here, they are here, and will continue to be here. The tape just confirms that.
UFOs, the best evidence ever caught on tape, will return.
With public interest in UFOs at an all-time high, more and more people are arming themselves with video cameras in hopes of capturing the definitive evidence, which could determine what these strange craft are and where they come from. If we use this tool effectively in the pursuit of truth and not succumb to the temptation to create sensational hoaxes for profit, fame, or mere kicks, the UFO evidence you record may one day be touted as the best ever caught on tape. Watch the skies and focus